Well, just letting our spool up here for a minute. I was going to be talking about hey Brant, was going to be talking about our Bristol Dirt Nationals week and kind of do a recap, a little longer. Well, it's not going to be that long, although some people have accused me of being a fire hose when it comes to transmitting information, but I'm going to try not to be a fire hose with information and just cover the highlights of our once-in-a-lifetime trip. So, hey Irv, hey Jeff, I'm also going to try to cover some of the questions that I've got and so forth, but I'm going to give it a little more time. Hey Brian, and John, and Nick, and Bintz, baby. Yeah, we almost made it, Bintz. For a lap, it was Bintz. And I'm good, John. A little tired still, but I'm good. So I'm going to, yes, it was good to see Charlie and the rest of the Chris family there at Bristol. Mercedes. I think I just seen something on that. Anyway, hello, Illinois. Anyway, so I'm going to start. So, Ryan Schroeder, 77R from Devil's Lake, we put his car in my car, in his hauler, his stacker, and he worked all the way up until Friday, and at Friday morning, he and his family hit the road for Bristol, and he was in beast mode. His driver, he had a buddy who was going to help drive the truck, and his driver got called back to work and so couldn't go. So Ryan literally put her on beast mode and drove straight through. I hope you can still hear me. And my heating unit just kicked in. Apparently it has doesn't give a shit about my Facebook Live here. Anyway, so he beast moded it 24 hours straight to Bristol. He rolls in at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And I was fortunate where I had previously planned on racing Humboldt, which was going to be before that, and fly in. And so I rearranged my flight, and we got in the night before, and Millennium Chassis had hooked us up with these condos across the street, which were like really kick-ass. Well, if you're a race fan, because it kind of was, I think that's where all the NASCAR drivers might have been staying maybe a little bit, and along with this washed-up B-Mod race driver team, thanks to Millennium Chassis. Anyway, so the room was pretty sweet. And so we got to the track Saturday morning, and Ryan rolled in. We were thinking we were just going to practice Sunday, but we had enough time. And so I said, hey, Ryan, do you mind if we unload my car and I practice? And he says, sure, no problem. And so we kind of scrambled, get it ready, and got out there and turned some laps. And wouldn't you know it, I had this carbon fiber drive shaft, which before you start saying, hey, you can't run that, we were running the Mideast 602 modified rules, and you can run a carbon fiber drive shaft. So we had that in there, and the U-joint failed, believe it or not. A brand new U-joint. So it didn't wreck the car, but I seen $600 flash before my eyes. And so it was good that we thought, hey, this is good that we practiced early, so now we're going to fix this, because we did get some laps in. I don't know, but someone told me we had fast time for our class in practice, but I don't know. And that was just folklore, which you never know in racing. Sometimes people say things that aren't true. Or I shouldn't say that. They have their own perception of things. So, but anyway. And then next I look over and hear Ryan's out there driving his hot rod. And I'm not going to cover too much of his trip, but his family, great people. I would have never been able to do Bristol without their help. They were just endlessly helpful. And so we get a hold of maybe I can't think of the company's name. I wasn't familiar with them, but they were at the track and had drive shafts. I think I messaged him on Facebook, and he was really responsive. They happened to have the size I needed. He put the yoke on there for me, and so we're back in business, and we got a good night's sleep, and I think we went to the Outback Steakhouse, and they had really peppery steaks, but I like peppery steaks. So, and then we went to practice on Sunday, thinking, okay, we got this new drive shaft, and we should be rocking. And I literally don't get to practice because the distributor takes a shit. I had a brass fitting, and apparently you're supposed to have a steel, whatchamacallit? I can't think of it. Sorry, my mind's racing right now because I'm reading and talking. Hey, Timmy and Lane. And thank you, Ryan Schroeder. Dynamic drive lines. Which, by the way, if you guys need tires, like Ryan has lots of tires. He's got big tires, little tires. I think the only tires he doesn't have that he doesn't sell is Hoosiers, but he might sell those too. I'm not sure. So if you're in Devil's Lake, make sure you hook him up, or he'll hook you up. Anyway, so we didn't get to turn a lap at all. So we scrambled, and of course, one little slight complaint about Bristol was when we were done racing, any of the people that sold parts were closed. So anyway, so we were messaging people and blah, 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 and finally found a distributor. I'm not going to say the brand name, but we put that in. We thought we were back in business. And on the first day of racing, so let me see here, Sunday night, I can't remember what we did Sunday night because we did a lot of stuff. We seen people. It was cool to see people I hadn't seen in a while and meet some new friends and annoy some people on TikTok. And we became a racing TikTok famous. So anyway, I got the news that, Bob Sagan from Shocker Hitch rolled in, and he used to build Pro Chassis, which was kind of like the fast cars of the 80s and 90s, and he now manufactures air hitches for smooth towing. He showed up, and of course he can build race cars, so between him and Kenny, I knew I was probably in good hands, along with the Schroeder family. We could accomplish about anything. So we got the distributor changed the next day. We found one and put it in the car. And we're still kind of on the struggle bus getting out of the hole, but we raced. We went 6th to 3rd, which was kind of a big deal because I didn't know what we were going to do, but it still couldn't get out of the hole. And with ethanol, we're on E85. And hi from Bemidji and from Minnesota. And anyway, so we were on E85 and wouldn't get out of the hole, so I'd get kind of passed on the starts. But the race car, it was driving the track. I was still super nervous on Monday. It took till Monday night where I was kind of calmed down because when you're in the car, it's all stands. So your peripheral vision, you see the same thing. So I didn't know what part of the track. I didn't know if I was in corner 1, corner 3. It was just all discombobulating. I finally figured it out on Monday. The white barrels, if you've seen the white barrels, that's the money corner. That means you need to get her going. And the yellow barrels is coming out of corner 2, which means that's the get her going corner. So that's kind of how I got myself figured out on the track on where the hell I was on the track. Because like I said, in your peripheral, all you see is the same thing all the way around the track, which if you're a dirt track racer, there's not too many tracks that are solid stands all the way around. So anyway, back to the race. 6th to 3rd, so we were like, oh, awesome. That put us 8th in passing points for the night out of the 120 or so drivers, which is cool. Or no, it put us 23, excuse me. That put us starting 8th in a feature. I can't remember if it was the first, second, or third. So they took the top 90 cars in passing points and put them in 3 different qualifying features. And in that one, we got out of the hole slow. We lost some ground. And we did manage to pass a few cars after we got going. It was still, when I'd go into the corner, the car would cut out. it was almost like it was on the chip, but it wasn't on the chip. It'd go, like we thought it was not getting enough fuel. So, okay, so we finished 6th. That's good. I think that race put us like 18th overall in passing points. So that was kind of looking good. And then the next day, and then we had the rain and all that. So again, I can't remember if this is Tuesday or Wednesday. I got all discombobulated days, but we had to get up it was like we worked on the car and we changed the fuel flow, thinking that there was something wrong with the fuel, and messed with the carburetor, thinking, okay, we're good. And they inverted the draw. So the next time we started 7th in the heat, and we had to get up at like 5:30 in the morning after going to bed at like 3 in the morning and get lined up for staging to go on the track. They would set you outside of the track on the asphalt and then run all the cars in and then run the previous class out. But of course, there weren't any cars racing at 7 in the morning. So we got on the track at 7 in the morning. And in that race, same thing, it wouldn't get out of the hole, and we get going, and it was kind of cutting out, but somehow we wound up driving from 7th to 4th, which that put us starting 12th in a qualifying feature later that afternoon. And so we went back to work on it, and this time we were going to give it more fuel, and we tried to retune the carburetor, and we put more race fuel in it to tone down the ethanol, thinking that maybe if it gets more, we change spark plugs, we blah, blah, blah. Still no luck. We went out for the feature, went from 12th to 10th. And so that put us, that run with those 2 runs, that essentially put us, I think it was the top 12 got in, and I think we were 18th overall in passing points going into Friday, which put us outside pole of the second heat, which that race and that 1 minute of Bristol Speedway, by the way, the video on that we posted up on Facebook is at like 350,000 full views and with like 600,000 impressions, which means I might be the most popular washed up B-Mod driver in the country, possibly. But maybe not. Anyway, so then Alvin, Ryan's dad, we're still trying to figure out, because the car was cutting out, it wasn't running right, wouldn't get out of the hole. So we devised the plan. We're going to switch it to gas. And Mahela, who was sitting number 1 in passing points, hooked us up with a 650 gas carb. We put that on the car. Oh, which, by the way, in the meantime of all of this going on, there's other stuff going on where we did drag race the car to see if we'd gotten it fixed down the dragway. Didn't get in too much trouble for that. We got to see Bloomquist, and we ran into Mark Noble, hung out with him quite a bit. He's an interesting character. I always knew the name, but never really spent time with him. I think some of these racing shows should interview him because he's a hoot. And I think if you're 65 and still racing, I think you can call someone a hoot. But anyway, which is amazing, that he's still pretty competitive at 65, because he had some really, really good runs there. And I can tell you, in our class, a 16-year-old won it. So, which tells you that it does sometimes, the older you get, you tend to sometimes be more cautious in the car too. But anyway, especially when you've been on your lid a few times. So going back to the car issue, so we knew we had a car, which how you drive the Speedway, I think I skipped that part, is it's almost like NASCAR. You literally, in a crate anyway, you just get it to the floor and you steer the car and you just turn it in and then you counter steer. And the first night I was really kind of intense on the track, nervous. And so by the end of the first night, I finally kind of got calm, where you could just kind of race and feel the track and let the car come to you. But you would literally drive it like NASCAR. So not like a short track where you're this and this and this and this and sometimes this and whatever. I mean, it was literally you'd turn her in, a little counter steer sometimes, and you would just do that. And the first heat race I was in for 10 laps, I thought, when is this race going to get over? But by the end of it, the last feature I was in, that was a 20-lapper, I was like, holy shit, this race is already over, because you kind of get used to the speed. Yes, that 16-year-old is a beast at our local track. Yes, I'm not sure what state he's from. I get the impression he's from like Wisconsin maybe, but I'm not positive. I know that I would have dented the shit out of my roof if I'd have won that race. I got the impression he wins a lot when he just kind of nonchalantly got out of the car and like, I mean, he was obviously happy to win and all of that, but I'd have been buying a new roof. Anyway, enough said on proper winning stuff when you win, but anyway, so we got the gas, we switched to carb, we found race fuel, we did the 50-50 mix, we took it out to the drag strip, I hit it, it got out of the hole better, but it still didn't run very well, and then Alvin said, you know, your car's been running crappy since you put that new distributor in. Put your old distributor in and take the gear off of the new one and put that in, and maybe that'll take care of your problem. And that's what we did, and that's what it did. So then we did that, went to the drag strip, and we had some yank, as they call it in our shop. We had some yank, finally. And then we went out for the feature, and it was a beautiful day. Sun was out, feeling good, sitting on the front row. The 75 car that was next to me, nice kid. We chit-chatted a little bit. We're all of us, I was a little like nervous because the 18 car, which was kind of a red, white, and blue 18, had been fast all week, and he blew up his motor the night before leading the race. So I knew this guy was fast, so I'm like, we just got to get a top 3, so I'm going to, drive well. We get ready to go. The car still's kind of slow to take off. Had a wicked, I don't know how I did it, but we kind of had a wind up and did a crisscross, and we got the lead. And I thought, normally I don't think this, but I thought, we are going to fucking kill it, because the car felt so good. And then I went into, had the lap for a lead, went into the corner, and I hit 2 holes, a double hole. It was like boom, boom. The car bounced twice, and what happened, and the hood came up, and I could see like this. So I could see about like this. So I knew I'm going to have to stay low on the track because I can't see the wall. So I kind of got my bearings. I went into the next corner, and the car, because I got this big wind sail of my hood up in the air like this, it's also making the car it slowed the car down and made it really tight, and the car pushed a little bit, and I checked up, and the 75 drove through me, and around I went, and one of the last kids in the pack ran into me and kind of knocked my nose in a little bit. And what happened with the hood, the after action on the hood, was that literally it ripped. We have hood pins, and they are attached to mounts on the chassis. It literally ripped the threads right out of the aluminum hood pin. And so it wasn't the hood pin was missing. It was literally, the force was so great, it just literally ripped the aluminum out of the aluminum threads out of the aluminum. Anyway, so then they say, 1S to the pits, one and done. And initially my mind went, you could about imagine where it went, but I quickly gained my composure, realizing that we'd had a phenomenal week in Bristol. I was secretly hoping they'd change their mind. What I was hoping was they would send the 75 back to the back, which I'm assuming he was hoping they'd send me to the back. And then because, right? And I think it was just a racing thing. I don't think it was intentional. Personally, I might have, knowing the guy in front of me's hood was in the air, I might have positioned myself to pass him on the next corner rather than staying directly behind him. But anyway, I've made bad decisions on the racetrack or whatever. You just racing things. Anyway, so I would have loved it if they just take me. It would have been even cool if they just took my hood off and sent me to the back, because I think we'd have drove it to the front. But that's just speculation at this point. But anyway, that we were done. That was it. And so then we did the assessment, and Ryan raced that night too, and he had a heck of a race he was kind of starting towards the back because he got wrecked out the previous night, and he passed about 10 cars, which is a good way to end your Bristol dirt on a positive note like that. We wound up in the paper right here, Speedway shots. I got to take this over to my mom's house here tonight, but we wound up, see, there's the hood. And in this picture, as you can see by the picture there's a few pictures on it, but again, I think it looks, there's all sorts of, anyway, I have no angst against the 75. I think he's a great kid, and he's going to get better and faster, and I hope we can, I was happy we had a fast car, and we got taken out by, which usually doesn't happen, but we just got taken out of the contention ultimately because of mechanical, having the drive shaft, the distributor, chasing the fuel issues, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to Bahela for getting second from North Dakota. That was pretty cool. I know he wanted to win it, but second's pretty good. And then we got to, on Saturday, because the big boys were racing, UMP and the late models and the Super Duper Hornets were racing. We got to just watch racing all day and say hi to people. And we seen Steve Arpin, who's a really nice guy. Hopefully they can talk him into running the Dakota Mod Tour. It'd be cool to see him race up here. And got to see Scott Bloomquist. Got some... Ryan's son is a big Bloomquist fan, so thanks to Charlie Christ, a kid who used to help me race, who works for Bloomquist now. He got kind of first class with the GOAT, and got to see a lot of people. It was good to see the fan. They sold out. On Wednesday, they stopped selling pit passes, so if you had a race car and showed up after Wednesday, you have to park off the property. We were parked past the drag strip. I mean, it was literally a half mile to the center, and from there it was a 15-minute walk to gate 13, which is kind of near where you drew and where you went in on the pit side of the track to watch it. The infield was wicked. The speed was wicked. I would do it again. It was a fun time. Like I said, by the end of it, the last feature I raced, the 20 laps went by so fast because you kind of get used to the speed. Yes, it's Bristol, baby. I put in this live thing all the sponsors that helped me get there, from shockerhitch.com and RHR Swag, KO Storage, which they have storage facilities from here to Texas and Wisconsin and everywhere in between. They bought I used to have RH Rebel Storage, and they bought my storage stuff, good company, along with many other brands and my family and all of the fans and support. We're off to what our plans are now is we're getting ready. Here's my Wasota Midwest Modified right here behind me. And we're putting the final touches on it. And me and Rusty Coleman are going to load up tomorrow around noon, 1, 2 o'clock. And we're going to hit the road for Humboldt Raceway for the Battle of at the Bull Ring, and it's also the King of America weekend. That's $20,000 to win, and so I'm going to get to see some of my favorite modified drivers. I'm hoping. I'm not sure if Ricky Thornton Jr. is going to be there, but I'm sure Rodney Sanders and a lot of those guys are going to be there. I hope to see Lucas Schott there and Big Daddy, Joe Duvall there, and some of those other guys. And hopefully it's a great turnout. It looks like it's going to be beautiful weather in Kansas. And it's, I'm racing with the Battle of the Bull Ring portion of it. And, so is Rusty, which is on Thursday, it's a complete show Thursday night for $2,000 to win. And then Friday, Saturday is for $10,000 to win. And so, hopefully we are, safe and fast like we were in Bristol. And maybe we left our bad luck in Bristol and we will get our luck back, because in life, I'm an extremely lucky guy of people who know my story. Oh, awesome. So Ricky Thornton Jr. is racing it. and hopefully he's not racing in my class. There's anyway. I'm running out of things to say, but I wanted to kind of do and then we came home on Sunday, and we're really tired because we had 2 nights where we had a couple of hours of sleep, and I also a week of primarily Waffle House food and racetrack food makes the stomach a little upset, and you're a little shaky. But nothing that a few cups of coffee won't fix. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm going to call it I was going to answer some questions. Maybe I'll do that when I don't feel like we've already, I always have something to say, Matt Gilbert. Are you racing, Matt Gilbertson? You should come race King of America. Anyway, it'd be good to see you race down there. I always like watching you race. Thank you for the good wishes of good luck in Kansas. And until next time, smile.